This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Fulcrum Metals plc has released preliminary findings from a reconnaissance mapping and prospecting program at their Charlotte, Neely and Fontaine Lake properties in northern Saskatchewan, Canada, which are focused on uranium and rare earth mineral exploration. And the goal of this program was to confirm and extend previous exploration findings and identify new areas of interest. And this, of course, follows exploration work earlier in the year on the company's Carib East and Big Bear properties. Well, joining us today is CEO Ryan Mee. Thank you very much for your time. Ryan, how are you?
Very good, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Good to be talking to you, Ryan. I wonder if we can start off by getting a bit of an insight into what exact exploration work was carried out here. I noticed from the RNS that you conducted a helicopter-supported scintillometer prospecting campaign, which is a new word for me, perhaps for investors as well. So I wonder if you can explain really what happened.
Yes, absolutely. So this phase one exploration was to conduct groundworks and go out there with a scintillometer reading, which essentially measures the radioactivity of the ground. The next phase from that is you take rock samples, they get submitted to the lab, and they will measure the content of the uranium in those samples that you've submitted. So essentially, what the results that we've demonstrated today really shows or demonstrates the potential for hosting uranium mineralization. We knew that from some of the historic records that there was some high grade and some really good uranium grade samples in the past. Some of this information goes, back to the early 1900s, and certain areas of the property haven't been explored since the late 1960s. So this was a real opportunity to get out there, get some real groundworks completed, and bring these projects into the present. And I'm delighted to say that we've been really successful in doing that.
Okay, so you say that it shows that the area has potential here, and effectively it's the helicopter that flies around and gives you that airborne analysis, and then you go on the ground and take rock samples of those areas of interest and then send those off to assays. Is that effectively what's happening?
Well, the scintillometer instruments they're handheld, so it's helicopter supported through supporting the crew. So it's not fixed the helicopter as such. But there's two different scintillometer instruments that you can use. One which go up to a maximum of 10,000 counts per second, and another one which gives far greater readings of up to 65,000 counts per second. So generally speaking, when you look at the majority of these type of announcements, you'll see people say off-scale readings have been identified. What they mean is, 10,000 counts plus. What we've got is, we used both instruments. So if we encountered something that was over 10,000, we'd use the second instrument. And even with the second instrument, we were finding instances where we have off-scale readings in excess of 65,000 counts per second. So that really tells you this is some really, really radioactive zones which we've been out there and prospected. It's some real solid work that we've conducted here. And, we've not just confirmed some of these historic and, really vaguely documented occurrences. So there's a lot of merit in doing the work that we've done, but we've found new discoveries, new areas of radioactivity. And that's what's really exciting about this is the sheer number or instances or zones of radioactivity. And we've been out there, we've found new zones of really high radioactivity.
So you found new zones, you found really high areas of radioactivity, which would, in theory, suggest there is significant radioactivity in the area, potentially the uranium deposit. You then take up samples, do you, from that area, send them off to assay, and then that will help you formulate the next steps?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Bearing in mind that as you walk along these grounds, the bedrock isn't immediately available to you. So you take samples where you can, where that bedrock is exposed.
Okay.
So you won't sample everywhere where you come across high readings. You take them where you can. But what that does, it sets out a radioactive zone. And once you have these analyses back, you can correlate the results of the uranium mineralization in terms of percent to the counts per second. And that's what really helps build up the geological picture and ultimately the potential and how to move forward with these projects.
And talking about moving forward then, what are the next steps? You have to await those assay results and then you will interpret them, and that will help you determine the next phase of exploration at the project.
Yes, absolutely. There's a couple of ways we can move forward from here. We can, bearing in mind, some of this, for example, the geophysical data, it's decades old. There's been such huge advances in technology now. You can actually, conduct geophysical surveys, depending on how much you want to spend, of course, where it can actually, when you combine them with, in the field results, it can identify drill targets for you. So I would imagine our next step would be geophysical surveys, but let's wait to see what these results come back with, because we may just have a drill-ready target already. Who knows?
Okay, well, we can wait and see when those results come in and then your interpretation of those results. Of course, these projects are both uranium projects, but there are rare earth elements and also gold as well, particularly the rare earth associated with the Black Bay fault that you mentioned in the RNS. So where's the focus going to be? I mean, is it more uranium, or will you look to follow up some of these other credits here for rare earths and indeed gold?
I think if you look at the mining industry, I think nuclear really is an exciting place to be invested and exploring. Mm-hmm. So naturally, given the historic information that we have and the results that we're seeing from these scintillometer readings, our primary focus is uranium. There's a lot of movement in nuclear towards provision of low or no carbon baseload power as we move forward with this green economy. And as you say, this Black Bay fault transects the lower section of the Charlotte Neely claim. Now that fault is an important regional feature in the discovery of rare earths. Okay. So east on there, we have the Apia Energy Ulysses Lake, which is a significant regional rare earths project. And further to the south, there's historic uranium production all around this Black Bay fault further down south. So we know that we're in the right area. The guys in the field have seen all the right things that you want to be seeing to make these discoveries. We're seeing all, this intense radioactivity. And, these are all huge positives and developments for that area. We've actually made new discoveries close to this Black Bay fault. We mentioned in the news release about the Fall 1 and Fall 2 uranium trends. Now, these are in the time that was given for this program. Each of these are 100 meters in strike length each and open either end for expansion. They're actually really close, less than a few hundred meters. So that's a real keen area of interest for us. Then a little bit further away, we found gossamer zones, with a fairly substantial bedrock exposure of 30 meters by 10 meters. And some really high radioactivity around a newly discovered shear zone. So what we do know is we're finding everything that we want to see to make these important discoveries to create this shareholder value. Okay. We've also discovered or rediscovered a 10-meter wide vein which has gold potential. Now, that's not a normal size vein. So we are eagerly anticipating the lab results of the samples taken in that vein, which we're seeing up to 5% chalcopyrite. So we're very much looking forward to the results or receiving the results of these assays. As it stands right now, we're really excited from what we've discovered so far. We've confirmed historic occurrences, we've made new discoveries, we've extended areas, and main focus on uranium, but we know that there's this rare earth potential and this gold potential, and that's all upside.
Well, of course, it is early stage exploration for Fulcrum. You're not long listed. This is your first real active field season, so it's good to see you being active there and awaiting further those initial results that will help you formulate a more detailed exploration plan, perhaps going forward. Any other activities in terms of on-the-ground activities scheduled for the remainder of this year's field season?
Yes, I mean, we signposted early doors that we're going to be very active in the field across all of our projects. We've even announced some of them through RNS so that people realise that we're sticking to that strategy, that promise of going out there and conducting all these exploration activities. And, we've met all those targets and we will continue to meet them throughout the rest of this year. We're making some significant advancement on the Big Bear project as we've signposted through RNSs. We've been out to Carib Creek East. We were almost at the point where we've nearly been out to all of the properties. So now it's a case of waiting for these results to come back, integrating them into a geological model. What do they mean? What's the next stage?
Okay.
It promises to be, an action-packed, news-filled period running into the end of the year. And of course, one of the more recent developments, we've acquired the Tully Gold project, so people can expect to hear more about that project as well.
Okay. And just finally, in RNS today, just advising people, prospective investors, the current shareholders, anyone really who is interested, that you are hosting an event down in London along with First Class Metals and Panther Metals. Do you want to just have 10 seconds to tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, this is not your normal investor evening. This really is centered on engaging with the people that attend there. It's going to be unique in that we're going to be doing a live feed. So, if you can't make it, you can tune in online. Obviously, we'll have you guys from Stockbox helping out with, with the audio and input that through and those channels. And what we're going to have is a real open format discussion. What's the opportunity in Canada? Why are we there? What's the strategy? How are you going to create shareholder value? How have you positioned the company? And then, we'll talk a little bit about it, our own company, what shareholders can expect, what drives the company, what motivates you, why should investors care or want to be invested in you? Mm-hmm. It really is kind of an out-of-the-box concept. I find it really exciting, and I think those that attend will really enjoy the experience.
Okay, well, yes, indeed. I will be there covering the event, asking some questions, and we will be doing a feed of the fireside chat with the three companies there on the Stockbox YouTube channel. But I look forward to seeing you there. But for now, thank you very much for your time, Ryan Mee, CEO of Fulcrum Metals.
Thanks, Mark. Always a pleasure talking to you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.